speaking of business analytics, guys, my brother Darcellus Reed. Let me tell you something about a good brother of mine. I went to college with a gentleman named Darcellus Reed my freshman year at Florida Atlantic University, and Darcellus and I were roommates. We were roommates, and we developed this great relationship ever since our freshman year. Well, my sophomore year, I went to another college. I left Florida Atlantic. I went to University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. Went back home and so forth because in-state tuition. My father left Florida. I wasn't going to get tuition and wasn't going to get football scholarship, any of that stuff. But anyway, Darcellus and I have been working together over the last 3 months, and he has an MBA. He's been in the finance world and the banking world for quite some time. He's like, Antoine, man, you've been talking about tech for a good amount of time, and you've been talking about these salaries and so forth. And he did the entrepreneurship journey himself as well, too, right? And one thing about being an entrepreneur, you put in a lot of work, and there's times where you don't make a lot of money. So Darcellus said, you know what? I need some stability. I need to earn a higher salary so that I can put some of that into my business and not have to, suck a lot of my energy resources, without having a better understanding of tech and so forth, and the entrepreneurship world and all this other stuff. So he took a step back. He said, Antoine, I want to get into, some roles in tech. What do you think are some roles that will translate from me being a financial analyst to that of, something in tech? And we talked about business analytics and becoming a business analyst. Darcellus put his head down for 3 months, guys, studied, learned SQL, learned a little bit about SAP, asked me a lot of questions. And this is my boy, right? So, a lot of times, we chat via WhatsApp and so forth. But anytime he needed important information, you know what my boy did? My boy didn't seek free information. He actually booked a coaching session. He realized that my time was so valuable and the knowledge that I was giving him and information I was giving him was so valuable that he booked my time. And he didn't pay, a career empowerment session, which is, 30 minutes. He actually spent a full, 45 minutes with me paying, $179, just to get my time. And that's respect. That is, showing that you really care and you are really invested about your career journey. And let me tell you like this, Darcellus had interviews over the last two weeks, 3 interviews over the last 2 weeks with companies. He already got one offer as a product business analyst, making over 6 figures, right? He's looking for a second offer to come in next week, and he's going to take the first offer if the second offer doesn't come in by Wednesday. So guys, if you want to make the career transition, all you need to do is put your damn head down, book a coaching session, focus, commit to something. Stop wasting a whole bunch of time trying to figure out what is it that you want to do and researching and so forth. Say, okay, well, these are the skills that I currently have in the professional world that I've developed for a number of years. How do I take that and how do I apply that into a new world of tech? It's an easy transition if you are a very good communicator, if you understand business fundamentals, if you're good with spreadsheets, if you're good at solving people's problems, if you're good at presenting. That's what Darcellus was good at. So what did he do? He said, Antoine, I can do data analytics, but I think I want to do business analytics and become a business analyst. That's what he shot for. He studied for 3 months. Now he has his first offer. It's important to focus, guys. It's important to focus. And shout out to Brother Darcellus if you're in the chat. Well done, brother. And I tell you like this, that's how you really are committed to your career. You don't just ask people for knowledge. You pay people for knowledge. You put yourself in a room with people that you can pick up their change when they leave stuff behind. What I mean by pick up the change, pick up the information that they're leaving behind. Put yourself in a room with people who've done it before if you're looking to make that change in your life, in your career, and so forth. So shout out to Brother Darcellus. I wanted to make sure I hit that one as well. Let's talk about layoffs. Let's talk about layoffs. And I laugh because, guys, it's not funny to be laid off. But I think I want you guys to think about this. Well, I want you guys to think about this. Think about what you're seeing now in certain industries. What roles are being laid off? when there's an economic recession, when we're in it, when there's one on the way, and so forth, think about the roles that potentially will be eliminated. And if you are thinking about it, it's a role of a contract recruiter. So yes, contract recruiting has been named one of Generation Z's best jobs, right? You're trying to look for people. You're, helping companies bring people on board and so forth. You can make a good amount of money being a contract recruiter, especially working for a company like Google and so forth. Well, when Google says, you know what, we're slowing down hiring, why do they need recruiters anymore? Why do they need recruiters anymore? So that's what we're going to talk about now quickly is think about this before you go into contract recruiting. Fantastic job, but don't be surprised when you when you are potentially facing layoffs. And I say this, every job comes with its ups and downs, different spaces and so forth, and its own risks. Even sales that I'm in right now, there's a lot of risk in sales. If you don't perform, you're out. If you don't close a deal within 6 months, 7 months, you're out. If you don't have a history of getting shit done and being on the radar, you're out. Right? I was talking to Brother Damien, who's with us this weekend, and he works at Dell, right? One of the largest projects at Dell as a project manager. Fantastic brother. One of the best project managers that I know, right? If I, when I get to that point where I'm going to be needing a project manager for Black Heights or for this other business that I'm in, and I need to pull somebody out of the workforce to pay him a whole bunch of money, I'm going to be pulling my boy Damien, right? But Damien was telling me about, being in the sales operations organization and how there's new faces all the time in sales. So guys, there's risk in sales as well too, but there's also risk in contract recruiting. And as you can see from this article, dozens of Google external recruiters just lost their jobs amidst hiring freezes. And a lot of people are upset, right? So the company that Google contracts to do some of their recruiting to recruit data scientists and, data engineers and software engineers and so forth is Randstad SourceRight, large recruiting company. They work with a lot of firms and so forth, and they have a contract with Google to help, bring in folks to meet Google's business needs from a talent and acquisition perspective, right? Well, since Google said we're going to be slowing down our hiring, you have executive recruiters and tech recruiters and so forth from Randstad on the bench. When you're on a bench for a good 30 days, you're not making a company money. You are a liability, right? If they're saying they're going to pause hiring until Q4 of this year, which is October, 3 months away, they're not going to pay you full time. They're not going to pay you 40 hours a week when you're not doing anything. So what happened? They laid them off. And a lot of people were upset because, first and foremost, the company Randstad said to those folks that are technical and corporate recruiters that, everything was going to be fine. The contract with Google is still in place. Nothing for you guys to worry about. You just sit on the bench, and once, they open up hiring again, you can look for current talent, or we can put you onto other projects and so forth. Well, that wasn't the case. What happened was they got a pre-recorded meeting invite or a pre-recorded video, and they got laid off. And they got laid off because hiring freezes were in place, and they were only paid a week of compensation after they got laid off. So now they have to go out there and find another role in this difficult job market. They're probably not wanting to be a technical recruiter anymore. If any of you guys have been impacted in this space, consider making the transition into something of sales, where you can transition what you've been doing in the technical recruiting route of sourcing for applicants and looking for leads and qualifying leads and so forth. Transition that over to something like sales. Consider the course careers, who I've partnered with Troy. He's made a fantastic course to become an SDR, BDR, and consider taking that course. Link in the description. This way to actually drop but it's another way for you to use the skills that you're learning as a corporate recruiter or a tech recruiter to really focus on sales, and you have a higher upside of money that you can make as well too. You become an SDR, you become an account executive. Again, depending on the industry that you're working in, you can be making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, even more than that, millions of dollars a year, depending on the company that you work for and how well you do in a year. So tech recruiters, there's a lot of risk when there is a recession in place. Contract tech recruiters, especially. If you're working for the company, you think about it. They didn't let go Google employees who were recruiters. They let go contract recruiters who were working on behalf of Google at other companies. So guys, what they're doing right now is letting go of contractors in the downsides of when they're slowing down hiring. If you are a contractor, it's easy to let you go. So consider that if you are in a position to transition your career, if you are in a process of going towards recruiting, do a cost benefit analysis. Is that the right move for you? If you are in it and have been impacted and are listening to this video, consider something like Course Careers. Book a coaching session with me, and I can help you to pivot into another field where you can leverage the skills that you currently have and gain some additional skills in another role, but also make a good amount of money in that transition. We want you to ladder climb, not go backwards. So consider booking a coaching session at www.blkheights.com.